that delay, and I can tell you that I was every much as, or that's not quite grammatically correct, but I was probably as impatient for this to get loaded as you were, so that gives you any comfort. Okay. Well, I should probably start with the formal introduction that I typically use. You already know, of course, that these are my books. You might be wondering why an 11-year-old is teaching you today. Well, at the age of 7, I actually published my first book, Flying Fingers, and more recently, I published another book called Dancing Fingers with my older sister, and it's a collection of our poetry. And then this book, which is an advanced copy called Young in the Sky, is actually my first novel. And it is a bunch of things at once. Coming of age, historical, well, a little bit kind of inspired by history, but it's more like fantasy. And also political satire and adventure. So my books kind of span a variety of different genres, and I really enjoy writing. But raise your hand if you've ever had problems coming up with ideas for writing. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of raised hands, myself included. There's probably been one time or another when you or I have just sat down and thought, I don't know what to write. So for times like those, and even times when you're brimming full of ideas, here are some tips on inspirations for writing. And inspirations is kind of like something that is like an idea. So you can start out by observing. Does anybody want to tell me what observe means?
Mom, you can tell her real loud.
Sword.
Observe. What does it mean to observe? Do you know what it means? Okay.
Well, it might help to look at the picture. So, would anybody else like to define for us observe? You can take a careful look at the picture.
Look at things.
Okay, really loud so she can hear you.
Look at things.
To look at things. Very good. So observe basically means to look at things. When we look around and notice the things going on, we're observing. To observe means to see or notice something, especially while watching carefully. So when we're observing, we are looking around, but we're not just, oh, that's nice looking, but we are actually kind of zooming in and looking at it really carefully. So if you looked really carefully at the person sitting next to you, if you observed the person sitting next to you, then what are some things you would see? And raise your hand to tell me some of the things you see.
The color of their eyes.
The color of their eyes, very nice. So if you're really looking at a person carefully, which might make them a little nervous, then you will notice the color of their eyes, maybe the color of their hair, or the color of something that they're wearing. So you can really look at colors as one. What's something else you might notice?
Ears.
Ears. Oh, yeah. You probably might notice like facial features, maybe eyes, nose, mouth, ears. Would all be ones you'd probably observe. And if you were really looking carefully, then you might notice like their ears, whether they have a dangling lobe or an attached lobe, which is like two different types of earlobes. But that might be a little bit specific. So yeah, you can look at some of these ears, nose, eyes, mouth, the color of what they're wearing. Is there anything else you might observe? Maybe if you were looking at them for a long time.
What kind of books do you write?
No, honey, she's talking about what would you observe if you were looking at your partner, somebody sitting next to you. What other kinds of things would you see?
Clothes.
Okay, yeah, you could see clothes. Another thing that you might see, if you were looking at the person sitting next to you for a long time, you might notice whether they raise their hand a lot, whether they like to talk and would be called on, and you might notice like whether they laugh a lot or not, and maybe you might notice some of these littler things that can be pretty interesting. So observing can help you get ideas from simple things that you've noticed. So look around your classroom. What's on the walls? What's in the bookshelves? And who would like to tell me something about your classroom that you've observed?
you?
Books.
Books. Yep, a lot of books. Very nice. Would anybody else like to tell them the detail of the classroom?
Pictures.
Pictures. Okay.
Like on the carpet up here. What other kinds of things when you look around? What else do you see?
Yeah. Do you see maybe posters or things out of the ceiling, or if you look back and forward and to the sides all around you, what do you see? So for me, I'm not actually in the classroom right now. I'm in my house, lucky me. But yeah, because I got up a little early on my time. But right now I'm seeing. Let's see, if I look around me, I see a map. And here I'll actually show you this view. So I see a map, a piano, a kind of artwork, and this is a thing about how to put in good searches on a search engine. A poster, some posters from an event, and then